A whole town changed because one woman dared to speak. Faith spread not through miracles at first, but through a simple testimony. This moment proves that encountering Jesus personally changes everything. After the woman left the well and returned to her town, something remarkable began to unfold. She did not come back with polished theology or carefully prepared arguments. She came with honesty, urgency, and wonder. She told the people about a man who had spoken to her with truth and compassion, a man who knew her life and still offered her hope. Her words were simple, but they carried weight. And because of her testimony, many Samaritans took the first step toward belief. This detail matters. The people did not believe because they had seen a miracle with their own eyes. They believed because someone they knew had been changed. Testimony became the bridge between curiosity and faith. In a culture where Samaritans were often dismissed and marginalized, God chose to work through the voice of one woman whose life had already been transformed by a single conversation. The town listened, they questioned, they wondered, and instead of arguing from a distance, they chose to seek Jesus for themselves. This response reveals a hunger that had been waiting beneath the surface. Jesus had spoken earlier about fields ready for harvest, and now that truth was becoming visible. Hearts were open, people were willing. The harvest was no longer theoretical, it was happening in real time. The Samaritans went out to meet Jesus and invited him to stay with them. This invitation alone was extraordinary. A Jewish teacher staying among Samaritans went against long-standing divisions, yet Jesus accepted. He did not rush away. He did not treat them as a temporary stop. He stayed 2 days, teaching, listening, and revealing truth. Those 2 days would echo far beyond their brief duration. During that time, many more believed, not just because of what the woman had said, but because they heard Jesus for themselves. This is where the story deepens. The Samaritans eventually told the woman that their faith was no longer secondhand. They had moved from testimony to personal encounter. They now knew for themselves that Jesus was truly the Savior of the world. That statement is profound. These were Samaritans, people considered outsiders by many religious standards. Yet they were among the first to openly declare Jesus not just as a teacher or prophet, but as Savior of the world. Not Savior of one nation, not Savior of one group, Savior of the world. Their confession reveals how quickly God's grace breaks human boundaries. This moment shows us something essential about how faith often grows. It may begin with someone else's story, but it must eventually become our own. The woman's testimony opened the door, but Jesus' presence sealed the truth in their hearts. God uses both witness and encounter, both speaking and listening, both going and staying. Jesus did not perform recorded miracles in this passage. There was no dramatic sign, no public healing, no visible display of power. Instead, there was time, truth, and relationship. This reminds us that transformation does not always come through spectacle. Sometimes it comes through being heard, being taught, and being invited into deeper understanding. The Samaritans' response also challenges assumptions about who is ready to believe. These were people often labeled as spiritually compromised or misguided, yet they responded with openness and sincerity. They welcomed Jesus when others might have rejected him. They listened when others might have argued. They believed when others hesitated. This invites reflection. How often do we underestimate who God is working in? How often do we assume readiness based on background, culture, or history? This story reminds us that God sees hearts, not labels. He knows where hunger exists, even when it is hidden behind years of division or misunderstanding. The woman's role remains significant throughout this passage. She did not disappear from the story once others believed. Instead, her testimony was honored. The Samaritans acknowledged that her words mattered, even as they moved into their own faith. This balance is important. Testimony is not replaced by personal faith, it is fulfilled by it. Her courage also deserves attention. She returned to a town that knew her past. She spoke openly about a man who had revealed her life. That vulnerability became the channel through which others found hope. God often uses honesty more powerfully than perfection. He uses real stories to awaken real faith. Jesus' willingness to stay with the Samaritans also speaks volumes. He did not treat them as a project. He shared time with them. He allowed relationship to develop. This reflects the heart of God, who does not rush people into belief but invites them into understanding. The phrase "Savior of the world" carries deep meaning. It reflects a shift from narrow expectation to expansive hope. The Samaritans recognized that Jesus' mission reached beyond boundaries they had lived under for generations. Their confession anticipated a future where the message would reach every people and place. This passage also invites us to examine our own journey of belief. Many of us first heard about faith through someone else, a family member, a friend, a stranger whose story resonated. That testimony may have sparked curiosity or comfort, but at some point, belief deepens when we encounter truth personally. God welcomes that process. He does not demand instant understanding. He invites questions, presence, and time. Just as Jesus stayed with the Samaritans, he remains patient with those who seek him sincerely. Another powerful aspect of this story is how community plays a role in belief. The Samaritans did not encounter Jesus alone. They came together. They listened together. They believed together. Faith was not isolated. It was shared, discussed, and affirmed within relationship. This challenges the idea that belief is purely individual. While faith is personal, it is often strengthened in community. God uses shared experiences to confirm truth and deepen understanding. The story also reminds us that God's work often begins quietly. A conversation at a well, a testimony in a town, an invitation to stay. These moments may seem small, but they carry eternal impact. God's kingdom often grows through faithfulness rather than force. Jesus' words earlier about sowing and reaping find fulfillment here. The woman sowed through testimony. Jesus reaped through presence and teaching. The disciples watching all of this were learning that God's work is shared across roles and moments. No one carries the whole story alone. This passage encourages us to value both speaking and listening. We are called to share what God has done, but also to create space for others to encounter truth personally. Faith cannot be forced, but it can be invited. The Samaritan's journey from hearing about Jesus to declaring him Savior of the world is a picture of how belief matures. It moves from curiosity to conviction, from secondhand knowledge to lived truth. As we reflect on this story, we are invited to ask ourselves where our faith stands. Is it built only on what we have heard from others, or have we encountered truth personally? Are we willing to stay, listen, and learn as God reveals more? We are also challenged to consider our role in God's work. Like the woman, we may be called to share honestly, even when it feels uncomfortable. Like the Samaritans, we may be called to seek personally, even when it challenges tradition. Like Jesus, we may be called to stay present, even when it crosses boundaries. This story shows that belief can spread quickly when hearts are open and truth is shared with humility. God does not need perfect messengers, he needs willing ones. Thank you for watching this video on Holy Path Insights. If this message inspired you or helped you see faith in a new way, please like the video, follow the channel, and share it with others. Your support helps bring these life-changing stories to more people around the world.